You look lonely. I can fix that.
Lose! I don't lose!
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, greed is right.
I saw happiness. Happiness that should have been mine.
Get busy living, you get busy dying.
I'm disgusting! Yes! You're disgusting! I'll tell you what you get! Call the police! Get what you deserve!
Cinema. It's not just for entertainment. Hollywood's greatest storytellers don't engineer these tragic downfalls just to sell popcorn. They're documenting the exact psychological mechanics of human destruction by secretly hiding deep, uncomfortable secrets inside their art. For thousands of years, humanity feared the 7 deadly sins, not just as religious concepts, but as psychological traps that destroy civilizations. And today, from pride to lust, we will decode 7 masterpiece movies that portray these 7 sins perfectly. Let's begin. Pride. Represented perfectly by the 1997 psychological thriller film, The Devil's Advocate.
Lose! I don't lose! I win! I win! That's my job! That's what I do!
Sounds cool, right? Until you realize that's exactly how pride talks. Kevin Lomax was a lawyer with 62 wins and 0 losses. He was a good guy and exceptionally good at his work. Now, being good at your work isn't a bad thing, but building your entire identity around a streak is. During a trial, Kevin came to know that his client is a guilty child predator. He's faced with 2 choices: stand up for the innocent victim and lose his streak, or defend a monster just to protect his record. He chose second option, and it's the worst decision of his life. Later, Kevin is hired by a multi-billion-dollar law firm headed by a mysterious man named John Milton. As the money, fame, and power pour in, his ego takes complete control. He becomes so obsessed with keeping his streak alive that he goes completely blind. He is defending corporate corruption and wealthy criminals. Kevin ignores the fact that his wife is literally losing her mind and his own soul is rotting. But he doesn't care as long as he keeps winning. He only realizes his mistake when he finds out his billionaire boss is none other than
Say, call me Dad.
But the thing is, Satan didn't force Kevin to do anything. It was his choices all along. Pride forces you to protect the illusion of who you are at the expense of who you could become. When you are obsessed with your own hype, you justify your toxic habits and decisions just to prove you are never wrong. You literally become the advocate for the devil in your own life. How do you defeat this? Look at Kevin's choice at the end. He breaks the cycle by having the courage to lose his pride. He's supernaturally given a second chance and makes the right choice. To conquer pride, you must destroy the myth of your own perfection. Accept that you are human. Accept that you will fail. Because pride is the exact same trap that destroyed history's greatest kings and warriors. As the devil himself said,
vanity, definitely my favorite sin.
Bradley Cooper's Limitless is the perfect example for Sloth.
Oh look, another Limitless movie lecture. Let me guess, you're gonna tell us to delete Instagram, go into monsoon mode, and throw our electronics into the nearest river for a dopamine detox, right?
Shut up, Blue. It's a scientific concept.
Hey, have anyone seen my laptop?
Before the pill, Eddie Mora was the absolute definition of sloth. The guy called himself a writer, but his daily routine consisted of rotting in bed, staring at a blank screen, and bouncing a ball against the wall like a depressed prisoner. He wasn't just resting. He was actively letting his potential decompose because actually trying was too hard. Then he takes the NZD pill. Suddenly, he cleans his disgusting apartment, learns multiple languages, pulls some girls, and beats the stock market. But here is the psychological trick of the movie. We think Eddie needed a chemical miracle to fix his life. In reality, the pill didn't give him superpowers. It just violently stripped away his ability to tolerate his own laziness. It gave him a brutal understanding of the true value of time. Sloth is dangerous because it doesn't feel like a sin. It feels comfortable. It whispers, "I'll do it tomorrow," while the clock keeps ticking. How do you defeat this? In the universe, everything naturally decays and falls apart unless energy is actively put into it. Your life works the same way. Sloth is choosing to let your mind, body, and dreams decay in real time. Time is the only resource in the known universe that is perfectly non-renewable. Look, there's no pill in the real world to violently rip away your laziness, so stop waiting for a miracle. You need to start aggressively forcing your energy into the areas of your life that are currently falling apart. So next time, think 100 times before you choose to rot in bed.
Say hello to my little friend!
Now we are talking Tony Montana, the ultimate cinematic icon of a ruthless, arrogant gangster. This guy is a perfect example of wrath. Think about how his empire actually falls apart. It was because his anger completely blinded his judgment. He guns down Manny, his absolute best friend, in a blind rage, without even letting the man speak. By the time the anger fades and the regret kicks in, it's already too late. Manny is gone, and then comes the legendary final shootout. His mansion is completely surrounded by hitmen, but Wrath doesn't care about strategy. Tony didn't want to survive. He wanted to scream, shoot, and destroy every single person who stepped foot in his palace. Now, on the screen, that looks incredibly masculine and badass. But in reality, it's pathetic. He gets blasted from behind, falls into a fountain, and this time, he doesn't even get the luxury of living long enough to regret it. That is exactly how Wrath operates. When you're consumed by anger, your brain short circuits. All you care about is expressing that rage and hurting the person in front of you. That's why a wise man once said, an angry man opens his mouth and shuts his eyes. How do you defeat this? You need to realize that losing your temper isn't a sign of strength or masculinity. It's a sign of absolute weakness. It means you have zero control over your own mind. You are letting outside events pull your strings like a puppet. The next time someone insults you, cuts you off in traffic, or your wife refuses to let you name your kid Walter White, give just 5 seconds. Force yourself to pause, because a single minute of wrath can permanently burn down a relationship or a reputation that took you years to build. Now let's decode envy with Nolan's masterpiece movie, The Prestige. Borden and Robert were two brilliant magicians. Everything was fine until a part of Borden turns into Voldemort. Borden and Robert's wife secretly agreed to try a more complex and dangerous knot to make the trick better. She couldn't break free, and she drowned. Robert blames Borden for tying the wrong knot, and a massive, toxic rivalry begins. But it quickly evolves from a quest for revenge into pure, unadulterated envy. Robert becomes obsessed with Borden. He spends years of his life, ruined his finances, and destroys his own sanity just trying to figure out Borden's masterpiece trick. Robert couldn't handle the fact that Borden was naturally better at the craft. But here is the ultimate twist for anyone who has seen the movie. He just had an identical twin brother. They sacrificed their entire lives sharing one identity just to pull off the trick. Robert spent his entire life envying a biological lottery ticket. That is the trap of envy. Envy blinds you to your own strengths because you're too busy staring at someone else's highlight reel. You look at a guy on Instagram with a Ferrari or a guy who is naturally gifted at coding, and you hate yourself for not having it. But you forget that everyone has a completely different starting line and usually a massive sacrifice behind the scenes that you can't see. Trying to copy someone else's life is a foolproof way to lose your own. Stop trying to decode anyone else's trick. Build your own.
$22 billion in 3 hours!
Jordan Belfort, a phenomenally talented stockbroker who could manipulate absolutely anyone on the other end of the phone. With that level of raw skill, he became a seriously wealthy man. But a decent fortune wasn't enough. He wanted the world. He founded his own brokerage firm, Stratton Oakmont, and instead of hiring Wall Street elites, he recruited local hungry hustlers who were willing to do whatever it took to get rich. And for a long time, the money poured in like a tidal wave. But Jordan's fatal flaw was that he fundamentally didn't know how to stop. Greed completely stripped away his off switch. He needed more money, a more beautiful wife, more power. Finally, the entire house of cards collapsed. His empire was seized, and he lost absolutely everything. But make no mistake, Jordan was incredibly intelligent. That's exactly why, even after going to prison, he was able to use that same talent and legally build his wealth right back up. The point is, his talent wasn't the problem. His boundaries were. There's a famous line that says, greed is good, and to a certain extent, ambition is necessary. If you don't have a hunger for more confidence, a better physique, a stronger bank account, you will be the exact same person 5 years from now. But there is a dangerous line where healthy ambition mutates in a blind greed. As Mahatma Gandhi famously said, the world has enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. It is perfectly fine to dream big and build an empire. But the moment you start crossing your own moral boundaries and sacrificing your peace of mind just to stack up numbers that won't last forever, you aren't owning the money anymore. The money owns you. Look what young Robert Downey Jr. said when looking at the Wall Street.
If money is evil, then that building is hell.
When most people hear the word gluttony, they just think of a fat guy eating too much food. But it's about a lot more than just a full fridge. Let's look at the whale. The lesson here isn't just don't eat too much pizza, where you'll end up looking like Brendan Fraser from The Whale. In the movie, Charlie doesn't eat because he loves the taste of food. He eats because his entire life fell apart. He lost the person he loved, and he is eaten alive by guilt. Look, we all love to eat our favorite comfort food when we're sad, just to get a quick hit of happiness. But Charlie took it to the extreme. And here is the ultimate tragedy of the movie. Charlie could have lived a long, happy life with his wife and his daughter if he had just faced his guilt instead of trying to swallow it. But because he chose consumption to numb his pain, it turned into true gluttony, and it literally killed him in the end of the movie. Today, we are gluttons for cheap dopamine. We consume endless scrolling through reels because we have no reason to get out of bed. Hours of video games to escape a reality we hate. And adult content just to numb the loneliness. It is the exact same sin, just digitized. Think about it like this. Cheap inputs give you cheap outputs. If you feed your brain nothing but instant, effortless gratification, you build a mind that is completely incapable of doing anything hard. You have to choose high-value dopamine over the cheap stuff. High-value dopamine takes time. It comes from hitting the gym or mastering a skill. It requires effort. It takes time, but it builds a real life instead of just numbing a fake one. And finally, we arrive at the sin that is currently destroying an entire generation of humans. If you want a movie that will open your eyes, The Shame is for you. Brandon was a good-looking corporate worker on the outside, but on the inside, he is completely possessed by lust at his job, in his room, and even on his daily bus. He uses physical intimacy as a heavy sedative to numb his mind. The story takes a dark turn when his sister, Sissy, arrives to stay at his apartment. Sissy has her own heavy emotional baggage, but her presence completely breaks Brandon's routine. Because she is around, he can no longer easily lock himself away to satisfy his urges. He becomes hostile, hates his sister's presence, and grows increasingly aggressive as his obsession claws at his brain. It all leads to a horrific climax. With the psychological pressure, Brandon completely spirals into the dark, ignoring his sister's desperate phone calls. He goes from one venue to another, gets into a brutal bar fight with an angry husband, and keeps running through the night, driven by pure desperation for any hit of dopamine. He ends up in a club, crossing his own boundaries and seeking comfort with the same gender. But when he finally returns home, the reality hits. Because he ignored her calls, his sister was lying unconscious in the bathroom. She had tried to take her own life. Brandon falls to his knees on a rainy street, completely broken. This movie exposes the reality of lust perfectly. Physical attraction is just a biological mix of hormones, and it's completely natural to have. But thinking about pleasure all day and reducing human beings into mere objects is the single biggest virus you can infect your brain with. Fortunately, by the end of the movie, his sister is saved, but the lesson remains permanent. The things in your life that are meant to fall apart will fall apart. And reality isn't going to pause and wait while you're being controlled by your urges. How do you defeat this? Lust is a game of momentum. The longer you stare at the urge, the faster your logic shuts down. The moment thought pops into your head, you don't fight it. You immediately replace it. Change your physical environment or lock your phone in another room. If your mind is constantly hijacked by lust, how can you ever suppose to focus on a life that desperately needs your attention? Control this one thing, and you will control the world. These are the 7 masterpiece movies represent the 7 deadly sins perfectly. But the truth is, not a single one of us is completely free from them. They are deeply rooted in human nature, but our job is to ensure we aren't destroyed by them. You're never going to conquer all 7 of them in a single day. Each of these sins deserves its own dedicated breakdown, and maybe in a future video, I will show you the exact proven methods to conquer them all. Until then,
try again, fail again. Fail better.
And hats off to you who watch video till end. One day you will surely gain control over them. If you want to grow spiritually, mentally, and physically, hit that like and subscribe button. We are building legends here, not followers. In the end, if there are 7 sins, there are also 7 virtues.